Okay, so today we are going to work on or practice describing pictures. And that basically means we're going to talk about what we see. We're going to describe what we see. Now, that seems pretty easy, right? And yeah, sometimes it is easy. But because there are many different ways to say what you see, some ways are better than others. And so we're going to try to find the best, or at least some good ways to describe or say what we see. We're going to use pictures today. So our goal when describing something is to make whatever you say as vivid as possible. As vivid as possible. And vivid basically means clear. Clear. So the person who hears you, the person who is listening to your description, can imagine what you are looking at or what you are describing, even if they can't see it. So maybe they can't see it, but they can imagine or see it in their mind. Imagine means to see in your mind what you're talking about. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so let's start by talking about this picture that we see here. This kind of picture, because it has no color, we can call it a black and white picture. Black and white. I use and like this, black and white picture, or we could say a black and white photograph. Or we could just say photo. That's also okay. All right, so it's black and white, and that gives us a kind of feeling. Whenever I see a black and white picture like this, it looks a little bit bleak to me. So that's just my feeling of the picture. That's my feeling about the picture. Bleak basically means it seems a little bit sad in some ways. There isn't a lot of like joy or brightness, color in the picture. So it's a little bit bleak, this feeling of black and white. Now, how about this person here? We can see that we can say this is the outline of a person. The outline of a person. And to me, it looks like a girl, the outline of a girl. I'm not sure, so I can't be 100% sure, but I'm going to just guess that it's a girl. If we don't know, we could just say there is a figure. We could call this a figure. Oops, R here. A figure is, we can't be sure about what it is. There's something there, a figure there. And usually this is a person, okay? So I'm going to say that it's a girl, just because it looks a little bit more feminine to me. The shape it seems a little bit feminine. That means girly, like a girl, not like a man. So if it is a man, it's a feminine man, maybe, or at least the man has a feminine shape. All right, so we have this outline. That means we can't see the details very clearly. And if we can't see the details of the person very clearly, see here we just see black or gray, and I can't see this person's face, I can't see their hands, I can't really see this except for the shape of the person. And we have a word for this. If you see only one color, and you can only see, again, the outline, we call it a silhouette. A silhouette. Let's see if I can spell this right. O-U-E-T-T-E. A silhouette of a person. So a silhouette is, let's say, for example, you just see this and it's white, right? And against it, it's black. You can see that it has a nose. So you'd say, oh, maybe this is a silhouette of someone's head. You can't see their eyes. You can't see any details. You just see one color. You know it's there. So we say that is a silhouette. Okay, so we have the silhouette of a girl. We can say there is a silhouette of a girl. Of a girl. And I'm just guessing that it's a girl. So I say of a girl because that's what I think it is. And you can't tell me that I'm wrong because you don't know. If you knew, you could say, ah, no, it's a boy. And I would say, okay, so there is a silhouette of a feminine looking man. So that's not the point. Okay, so this is our, let's say this is our first part of our first sentence. And I'm going to make a line here so that we can separate what we're writing and some of the words that we're talking about, okay? So there is a silhouette of a girl. Now, we can usually say the position of the girl. Where is the girl? Well, this to me looks like some sort of field. Now, I think there is a small chance that this is ice, maybe a frozen lake. A frozen lake, but oops. But I'm pretty sure that it is an empty field. That means there's a field with no crops. No crops. Crops means the things that grow in a field. Corn, like wheat, right? And so on. Those are the crops that you grow. Well, it looks like an empty field. Now, maybe it is a lake, okay? But I'm going to say that it's an empty field, okay? And if I want to add my feeling to this empty field, I can replace the word empty with something that has the same basic meaning, but adds my emotion to it. So something which seems empty to me, or has nothing, and also has emotion is lonely. Lonely is a word of emotion, right? Lonely is a feeling. But if we give the field this feeling, then we can see that there's nothing there, maybe. And we can also guess that it's very maybe wide and it expresses more than just what we see. So we can say maybe standing in so that's what she's doing in, let's say, in the middle of a lonely field. Okay. Of. Now, around here, we can't see any cities, right? If there are no cities nearby, she's probably in a rural area. Rural means it's in the countryside. It's not in the city. And the opposite of rural is urban. An urban area is a city area, an area around a city perhaps, where there are more modern things. Rural is in the countryside. But not every rural area is the same, so let me add a little bit more. Let me call this farmland. So for example, my hometown is in Ohio, and in Ohio there's a lot of farmland. However, you can have a rural area that is not farmland. Because maybe it's out of the city, right? It's the countryside, but people don't have a lot of farms there. They don't grow a lot of crops there. And so we would just say it's a rural countryside or a rural area, something like that. We wouldn't say rural farmland. But I'm going to guess that maybe this is an area with a lot of farmland. So I'm going to say of some rural farmland. And I could add more detail if I wanted. I could say a silhouette of, maybe I could add thin girl or a slender or something like that. But I'm not going to. I'm going to just give you the basic idea about how to express this. This first sentence gives us a pretty clear picture of, so far, of the situation. Now, it's not exactly everything we need, but it's a basic idea. There is a silhouette of a girl standing in the middle of a lonely field of some rural farmland. Okay. And now I'm going to add a comma here. And I'm going to talk about this white stuff here. Can you see this white stuff? Now this is called fog. Or we could say mist. Mist is heavier and, you know, basically it's the same idea, but mist is generally heavier than fog. Fog is just a white, sort of white gas around you. So I'm going to say that this fog is sort of hanging here and it surrounds her. So surround means all around, all around. But it's a verb. If something surrounds you, it is all around you as a verb. Okay, that is what it is doing. It is being all around you. So let's say surrounded by this fog looks pretty thick, right? It's not very light fog. I mean, you can't see too far away. So I'm gonna just say by dense fog. And we could use other adjectives here. Dense just means thick. Dense means thick. We could say other things as well. We could say maybe ghostly. Right? Like a ghost, it's a little bit scary, ghostly fog. We could say heavy fog. We could say thick fog. We could say white fog. We could say a lot of different adjectives. You can put in here what you like, but the point is creating a vivid image. And I think dense fog creates a pretty vivid image because actually it's more difficult to see her because of the fog. And because it's more difficult to see her, I'm going to use the word dense. I think that creates a pretty good picture. So there is a silhouette of a girl standing in the middle of a lonely field of some rural farmland surrounded by dense fog. All right, so what else is going on here? Well, we can say behind her, right? Or from where we are standing, behind her there are some trees, and the trees have no leaves, right? Well, no leaves would say what? Well, trees usually have leaves in the summer and in the autumn and in the spring, but they don't have leaves in the winter. Unless these trees are all dead, but based on the field here, based on the background, it doesn't look like a very, very summery place, right? It doesn't look like a very warm and wonderful place right now. So I'm going to say that it's winter. I'm going to say that it's winter. And I'm going to say it's winter because of the trees. Because of the trees. Now, that doesn't mean the trees are causing the winter. I mean, because I see that the trees have no leaves, I'm going to say that it's winter in my description. Now, how could I do that in a way that's a little bit more creative? I could add a verb and say that the trees are doing something. Well, I could say that the trees suggest something to me because I do not know that it is winter. I'm guessing it's winter. I'm not totally sure. I'm not completely sure if it's winter. But because of these trees, I'm guessing that it is. So I could say it like this. In the distance, and I'm going to say that this is in the distance. This is really, really in the distance, whatever this is. But let's say these trees are in the distance. In the distance. A row of trees A row is something like this. And you have things in a line. This is a row, a row. So you can see these trees appear to be in a row. So trees, 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 trees. No trees here, no trees behind them. It looks like a row of trees, so I'm going to say a row of trees. Because I can. A row of trees suggests. So I'm going to say that these things are suggesting when something that isn't really doing something. It seems to be doing something human, right? Like trees can't really suggest something. Hey, you should check out this movie. It was really great. No, a tree can't do that. But we can use a human sort of verb to give a tree a kind of personality or to add some vivid description. So this is called personifying something. Person, right? If you personify something, you give it a human or a person-like quality, even if it doesn't have that, like a tree, okay? So suggests cold, let's say cold winter weather. In the distance, a row of trees suggests cold winter weather. That's not a very clear N. Let me make that more clear. N. That's an N. That's an I. Okay, cold winter weather. And you could say other things if you wanted to. Suggest cold, suggest that it is winter. Whatever you want to do. The point is, I'm trying to make it vivid and say that the trees are telling me what the weather is. And if by saying that the trees are telling me something, I can also imagine other things about it. I can imagine that the background maybe doesn't have other beautiful trees with many leaves. So I use this as a sort of tool, to let me do that, okay? Now let's talk about this girl. She looks like she's looking at something over here. She looks like she's looking over there. Now that's just my opinion, but you can't disagree with me. And what's over here? Well, you have these clouds over here. So she's looking at the sky, specifically the clouds. But the clouds move. If you have something that moves or happens and you continue to look at it for a long time, we use watch. We watch a football match because it continues to go on, and we focus on that. We watch a dog playing in the park. We watch a movie. These are things that continue to go on. But if you point your eyes at something, then you would use look. So let's say, or we can use gaze maybe. Gaze is sort of look at in a kind of way like you're thinking about something. So let's say that she's gazing at the sky, right? That's where her eyes are pointed, and she's watching the clouds. We can do both. So let's see how we can do that. The girl is gazing up at the blue sky. So the girl is gazing up at the blue sky, watching clouds pass overhead. Not over her head, just overhead. Just overhead. You just use this to say above. It's similar to above. Okay, the clouds are going by. We can imagine now. What do we imagine? So we imagine this thick fog around her. We imagine it's winter, it's cold. We imagine this empty field, it's lonely, right? We imagine the clouds are woo, 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 going by and the sky is blue. Okay? Now let me add something about my opinion. I'm going to mention the fact that the picture is black and white, which I mentioned before. Right? I'm going to mention in my description that the picture is black and white, and I'm going to say that that gives me some feeling about the picture, which I think can help my description. So let's see how we could do that. Well, because we could say because the photo is black and white, because the photo is black and white, and now I'm just going to say what I think because it's black and white, and maybe your opinion is different than my opinion. Oops, what have I done? What have I done? There's something dreamlike and sad about it. So that's just my feeling, dreamlike and sad. If you use something and then add like at the end, that means it is like that, but it's an adjective. When you do that, you make an adjective. It's a way to create or make an adjective. There is something dreamlike and sad about it. When I say something here, why do I say something dreamlike and sad? I say something dreamlike and sad because I'm not exactly sure what the dreamlike thing is. Well, it's because of the photo being black and white, but maybe there's something else that adds to that, because you can have a black and white photo that is not dreamlike and sad, right? And so if I don't want to be very, very exact about that and just say my feeling, I can say something here. Because the photo is black and white, there's something dreamlike and sad about it. Okay, so if you're ever not totally sure what that quality is that makes it dreamlike and sad, or whatever, then you can just say something and then use the adjectives you want to use, dreamlike and sad, about it. It is the photograph, right? Because the photo is black and white, there's something dreamlike and sad about it. So let's go through this. There's a silhouette of a girl standing in the middle of a lonely field of some rural farmland, surrounded by dense fog. In the distance, a row of trees suggests cold winter weather. The girl is gazing up at the blue sky, watching clouds pass overhead. Because the photo is black and white, there's something dreamlike and sad about it. So this is a really pretty simple description. It's not very complicated, and I know that, and I could add many, many things to make it more detailed, but I just wanted to give you a general or a basic idea about how to mix your opinions about something and the things that you really see. Because in fact, a description is never only what you see. There's always going to be something about your opinion in the description, because you're the one choosing the words to say, right? Maybe instead of saying cold, someone decides to say brisk, which is another word which is a little bit like cold. And that would be their choice, and that would change the feeling of the description. So describing things is complicated because there are many, many choices to make. So what choices should you make? Well, you should choose things that fit you. Choose things that fit you. Choose things that show what you really think about something. Make it personal, right? I use my opinion a lot in here. You don't think it's dreamlike and sad, maybe. Maybe you think it's happy and optimistic. So it depends on you, but the point is it has to be pretty vivid, and you need to use words to give somebody else at least a pretty good impression of what you're seeing. Okay, so we're going to be working on this more in the next video. If you want to try to describe a picture, please do. If you have any questions about how to do that or how to do it better, you can talk to me on WeChat, okay? And I will see you in the next video.